Nagmahashaya used to say, "In the kingdom of God there is no distinct of caste or creed. All are equal in his eyes. Those who surrender themselves at the feet of the Lord, by whatever name they may call him, in whatever form they may meditate on him, if they can do that with sincere and devoted heart, they will surely get the grace of the Almighty." The numerous paths or creeds are the numerous ways to reach the same kingdom of God. They are all effective, provided one follows them with a sincere heart and resolute mind. Kali Kumar Bhuiya of Deobhog was one of those persons whose course of life was completely changed through the grace of Nagmahashaya. In his early life he was very poor, but he was taken in adoption by a well-to-do person of Deobhog. Kali Kumar was very loose in character in his youth and squandered away the money and wealth he had inherited from his adopted father. Though he came in contact with Nagmahashaya, he could not at once shake off his youthful failings altogether. Nagmahashaya was, for this, at times very severe and hard with him. He used to remain seated in a pensive mood at Nagmahashaya's house, remembering his follies. Once he was seen striking his forehead against a post in the house of Nagmahashaya. He, who was so tender-hearted, did not even look at him at that time, but remarked, "Everyone reaps the fruits of his own actions." Gradually, as he came in closer and closer contact with the saint, he was able to shake off all his old habits and lead a very pure and pious life. Haraprasanna Mazumdar, whose name we have mentioned previously, was one of the devotees of Nagmahashaya. He was first attracted towards Nagmahashaya by seeing how devotional songs brought on him the state of samadhi, in which his face shone with an ethereal and most attractive look. Could it be that he was in divine communion with the Almighty? Was it that he was getting merged in samadhi, spoken of in the Shastras? His curiosity thus drew him to the saint and made him seek his acquaintance. The more he knew him, the more he admired and loved and felt attraction for his company. Nagmahashaya also loved him very dearly. The ideal life of the saint and his prominent characteristics were well reflected in the life and doings of Haraprasanna. His faith, humility, devotion, and above all, his service to all men as incarnate Narayanas reminded one of Nagmahashaya. Natabar Mukherjee, a young man given to all sorts of youthful indulgences, changed the course of his life as he came in contact with Nagmahashaya. One peculiar characteristic in him was that he was bold and sincere and never hesitated to sacrifice or to carry out what seemed to him right. He had some literary aptitude and once composed a drama, the theme of which was the coming of God on earth in human form for the deliverance of the wicked from their sin. It was staged at Deobhog and Nagmahashaya witnessed it. He had painted the uncommon humility and boundless mercy of Nagmahashaya in the drama. He was an inhabitant of Deobhog, and most of the time he lived there. He had great devotion and reverence for Nagmahashaya's wife, and he loved his devotees dearer than his life. Another devotee, Annada Thakur, was well known in the circle of devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. He did not know how to read and write, but had an intense faith in God. He used to come often to Nagmahashaya, who was very kindly disposed towards his childlike and simple Brahmin. While living at Dhaka, he used to frequent to the house of a friend of his who was a highly paid government officer. The gentleman was a little jealous that Swami Vivekananda has made such a great name in America, and accordingly was telling all sorts of lies against Swamiji. Annada could bear this no more, and in a firm voice he said, "One word more against Swamiji and you are done for." After this incident, he never met that gentleman in his lifetime. His last days were very peaceful, and he passed away with the names of Sri Ramakrishna and Nagmahashaya on his lips. Kailash Chandra Das, the husband of Hadakamini, of whom we have mentioned previously, like his devoted wife, surrendered himself completely at the feet of Nagmahashaya. Nagmahashaya could never accept any service from others, for he saw Narayana in all. But in the case of Kailash Chandra, there was an exception. He regarded the saint as his guru and therefore believed him to be God incarnate. And the one aim and ideal of his life was to carry out the orders of Nagmahashaya and render him loving service. Parvati Charan, another devotee of Nagmahashaya, was a great lover of solitude. He never argued about religion. He had a living faith in the saint, and in all matters he depended entirely on him for advice and guidance. When others were busy about arguing out the truth of any philosophical problem, Parvati Charan would be seen quietly sitting and meditating on his Ishta. Gopal Chandra Chakravarti, a neighbor of Nagmahashaya, was the first devotee to come in contact with the saint. Many are indebted to him for hearing of Nagmahashaya for the first time. He was initiated in his early life by a woman of great talent into the Madhura Bhava. As a result thereof, great power developed in him, and thereby people were attracted towards him. He was known as Satya Gopal in the circle of devotees. He was a charming songster and also had a good hand in playing mridangam. When Nagmahashaya saw him first, he remarked, "Satya Gopal is a great devotee. He has an intense and living faith, but there is a tendency in him to enjoy sense pleasures." As he came in contact with Nagmahashaya more and more, he understood the great folly he committed, and ultimately gave up practicing the Madhura Bhava and took to the path of simple devotion. He regarded Nagmahashaya as his real guru and regarded him as great and glorious as the Vedas and the sky overhead. There are many more devotees of Nagmahashaya whom we have not mentioned here, and there are again many others of whom we do not know anything, as they themselves like to remain unknown. In fact, whoever had once seen the blessed form of Nagmahashaya could never forget him and could not but be impressed by his saintly character. He had left such an impression of the life and character of many a youth that the course of their life was completely changed. Through His grace they attained to great purity and blessedness, and many might have realized the summum bonum of life too. Swami Vivekananda used to say that 5 minutes in the company of such godly men can change a whole life. Religion is actually transmitted to the disciple by a real guru. We find this verified to the very letter in the life of Nagmahashaya.